What's up guys, it's XRAYZ and welcome to Behind the Horror. This is episode 19, Der Eisendrache, the Witch's Castle. Now I thought this one would be a little bit easier to do considering it's a castle. I mean, you gotta have so much to work with, but really there wasn't much. I've made a video already on Hohenwerfen Castle, which is the castle that this map is based on, and if you guys have missed that video, you guys can check it out. I will link it down below. But essentially, that castle didn't really have a lot of creepy or haunted factors to it. It had quite a bit of a rich history, which you guys can find out in that video, but there wasn't really anything that was noteworthy that would be very behind the horror-ish. So today we're going to be talking about another castle that's in Austria, and after a ton of research, I finally found one. Now if you guys could, make sure to leave a like and a favorite on this video guys. It really does help out the channel and it is very much appreciated. So leave a like, leave a favorite. Let's try to reach 1,000 likes. And if you are new, if you enjoy Black Ops 3 Zombies content and especially series like these, then of course make sure to subscribe. If you are a Patreon of mine and you're watching this early, thank you so much for your support. And if you guys want to get videos early like these, you guys can check out my Patreon page. I will have it linked down below. You guys get videos early, a week early for Behind the Horror, and 2 weeks early for Gaming Nightmares, which should be coming hopefully soon. So make sure to check out my Patreon page. It's $2 a month, and you get access to my videos earlier than everyone else, and you're supporting me. So thank you so much to all my patrons. Let's go ahead and jump into it. So obviously Der Eisendrache is based on a castle, and while I did research on Hohenwerfen and I've made videos on it, there wasn't anything very interesting about it. So I decided to expand my horizons and look for other castles, preferably in Austria, that would fit the bill for an episode of Behind the Horror. Luckily, I did find one, and boy was it a good one. The Witch's Castle. So let's go ahead and talk about the Witch's Castle in depth. Muschamp Castle, located near Salzburg, Austria, dates back to the 13th century. Built by the Prince Bishop of Salzburg, Muschamp has a strange and sinister past. Hundreds of witches were beheaded within the walls of this castle. It is said that some still haunt this Austrian fortress, which is run as a museum today. Muschamp's persecution of witches was not unique for the time. 3 centuries ago, mass hysteria swept through the US and Europe. This hysteria caused by people's irrational fear that witches lived among them. Witch hunts and witch trials became a part of everyday life. During this time, many women lived in fear of being accused of witchcraft. In Austria, Muschamp Castle became the center stage in the Salzburg witch trials. Between 1675 and 1690, over 100 people were killed in this castle, tried, and found guilty of witchcraft. Thousands more were accused during this time. They were imprisoned and tortured. One interesting fact about the Salzburg witch trials was that the majority of people accused were men, not women. The ages of those executed ranged from 10 to 80 years old, 92 of which were under the age of 21. Sadly, the youngest victims who were found guilty during these witch trials were actually beggars or just harmless children. Their only crime was that they had no one to vouch for their characters. The methods used to torture was ghastly. Hands were cut off and people were burned with hot irons, which branded them as a criminal for the rest of their lives. Many, while being tortured, confessed to witchcraft just to stop the agony. The gruesome history has left Muschamp haunted. Today, staff and visitors recount instances of being touched, feeling someone's breath on them, banging sounds, phantom footsteps, and doors slamming shut. Many talk about seeing unexplainable floating white mist. Could this maybe be the wisps that we find on Der Eisendrache? I mean, I don't know. The current owner of the castle states the room called the Room of Tony was the quarters of the man who was responsible for all of the tortures. Many feel a dark presence in this room. One museum visitor stated she even conversed with this entity. In the torture chambers, many have felt hands touch their hair and legs. Others state that an unseen presence came very close to them. It is here where several people have reported they felt someone breathing on them. Various voices have been recorded during EVP sessions in the castle. Another strange part of Muschamp's history is the reports of werewolves during the 1800s. Many deer and cattle were found close to the castle mutilated. Several residents of the castle were accused of being werewolves. Some accounts state that these people were then executed. Others state they were imprisoned. So as you guys can see, this was a really cool, very haunted castle that can be found in Austria as well. And I think that honestly, this was a point in history where just there was a lot of paranoia. Obviously, the US had it with the Salem witch trials, and it looked like it's something that made its way to Europe as well. And it's really sad to hear that a lot of these people accused were kids, were people who, especially homeless and orphan kids who had no one to vouch for them, and it's a very depressing story. Anyways guys, thank you so much for watching this episode of Behind the Horror. If you guys enjoyed it, leave a like, leave a favorite. Again, let's try to reach 1,000 likes. If you are new, if you enjoy content like this, I post this as soon as new maps come out, and even in between. Whenever I go back and find new stuff, I always add it to my Behind the Horror Declassified series. As always, if you guys want to get access to these videos early and support the channel, you guys can do so by checking out my Patreon page. You get access to all my videos earlier than everyone else, and some of these you get as early as 2 weeks early, like Gaming Nightmare, so definitely check it out. If you guys want to keep talking zombies or anything, feel free to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. And if you guys want to, feel free to use my discount code OGXRAYZ to get 10% off Control Freak and G Fuel. They also support the show. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.